Taurus, this is your September 24 soul story. If you've got a sun, rising, moon in this sign, this is your reading, and this is Romy. Thanks so much for joining me. Okay, we're going to open up this month with the Eight of Fire, Eight of Wands. I think you have a renewed love and appreciation for something happening through this month. And you're keen to share, to collaborate, and really to consider what's possible. You know, there's going to be some interesting conversations take place that reshape your perception of what happens next. Okay, now on the beginning of September, Pluto re-enters Capricorn for this final swan song until November 19th, and you're preparing really to close out such an epic chapter. So September sees this sort of simultaneous experience of endings and new beginnings kind of merging and coalescing. And so at times you might feel your energy is a little bit split, and your emotions might feel a little bit split too. I think September is holding a beautiful intensity about it. You know, I think many of the experiences that come in are set to give some renewed optimism or hope, much needed in certain areas. But I think the intensity is also what it's asking of you and what you're continuing to see play out, you know. And I think, if anything, we really want you to, through this month and beyond, you know, understand that everything is happening for you, not to you. And if we can sort of let go of this belief that everything needs to be easy in order to feel satisfying, to feel fulfilling, to feel joyful, that we can exist with the challenges, because frankly they're sewn into the fabric of the journey. Like, this is part of the life that we signed up to at this exact time. So it's sort of like, how are you going to show up? And your High Priestess, you know, indicates like, you know what's going on. You're seeing it, right? There's two very distinct realities playing out just now. People are on very different timelines. And it's a lot harder to connect and entertain certain types of energy. But you know where you're going and you know what's being asked of you. And I think when we can really kind of face that, and remember I said this at the beginning of 2024, I was like, look, it's going to feel as hard as it's ever felt, but the difference this year is that we're maybe a little bit grittier and we kind of know what's coming and we don't expect it to be straightforward. And so with a different attitude and approach, we've perhaps been able to navigate things not necessarily easily, but with a certain degree of resiliency and strength that perhaps had eluded us previously. And you know, we've chalked up a lot of experience now. Now your High Priestess says that you're right. There's something that you're thinking, that you're intuiting at the moment, and you need to trust and believe in that knowing. The new moon in Virgo arrives on the 2nd, and Mars is squaring Neptune, so there's a little bit of something going on that could be somewhat disorientating, and even maybe create some doubt around a certain plan or action that you want to take. But you know what? There's a deeper knowing within you that this is the right thing, this is the right way forward, and that I need to trust in this, I need to believe in this. And I think it's really important that you maintain that faith and inner belief. You know, this is very much a month where you're getting to, you know, through your own self journey, to love and appreciate who you are, your value, really start to demonstrate how your esteem and the respect that you have for yourself has really gone to a new level. It matters. We're constantly being tested in these ways. Now you've got King of Water coming through here. Could be a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. But what I really feel it's reflecting along with the High Priestess is very much something that's happening and unfolding around your specific spiritual journey. Yeah, the things that you are learning about yourself at this moment in time. Now pay attention to the 3rd. We've got Venus conjunct the South Node in Libra. A lot of reflections, particularly around past relationships, love relationships. There's almost like this feeling of closing a door, closing a chapter, finding closure. You've grown, you've outgrown, you've evolved so far beyond who you once were, that it's now time to like fully allow that integration to take place. And I think one of the other big themes about September, you know, it sort of tends to have that energy of kind of back to school, right? It's sort of feeling like, right, we need to get on and revisit the details and put plans into motion. Now, all of that is happening, but you know, there's a bigger conversation happening here, Taurus, that says, I need to now address a different work-life balance. You know, because there's this feeling of, you know, in the past where there's been burnout or there's been stress because we ended up doing too much of the wrong thing. And, you know, this is about a time that says, you know, if I'm going to survive, if I'm going to thrive in the new conditions, I really need to ensure that I've got this right balance in my own personal journey. Because perhaps you're going to need more time and space to regulate, to switch off, to restore and rejuvenate yourself, because everything is more intense. Everything feels amped up. Everything in some ways feels that little bit harder to show up to sometimes, just because of the amount of transformative experiences that everybody is having and the collective and earth energy is going through. So that new attitude and that approach that you bring to September to say, well, okay, I've learned from the past, now what am I going to do differently, really matters. Yeah. Now we've got Venus trining Jupiter on the 14th. I want to call this day out. They're both in air signs, Libra and Gemini, and I want to call it out because I feel like what it delivers, perfect energy for us here with the world, is opportunities through the messages that we receive, 8 of fire, to see growth, see opportunities for growth and expansion and positivity. So, you know, perhaps you've got something going on in your life and you're waiting for a shift. This is definitely an initiation, a catalyst, like something is being revealed and being shown. Now, I think an action needs to be taken as a result of it, but it certainly creates the ideal conditions to receive something, to see something, or to be the one that sends something out, okay? So definitely a nice time through the month of September to just kind of harness and leverage that in a powerful way. Because it's gathering in this air energy, it feels to me it's going to be very significant around emails received, letters, texts, you know, things that are going to be involving like, kind of like the written word specifically, okay? You've got the energy of the world, again, the simultaneous endings and beginnings, but there's something perhaps to celebrate and certainly something to acknowledge. And perhaps this is, you know, a day in the month that you really give yourself permission to give you know, a well-deserved pat on the back to yourself. You know, maybe you need to acknowledge and celebrate something that you've achieved, that you've been through, or simply how you're coping with something. So however you mark that, I think it matters to continually keep praising, because if we don't, you know, sometimes the meaning can get lost in things, and you might be lacking that validation or that recognition or reward from external sources. And so it always begins with us anyway. But again, this is part of you demonstrating through your own self-growth and self-love journey, I matter enough to stop and mark this literally and you know, appreciate myself in this way. And I think that's very much connected into what I said about finding through the month of September this renewed sense of love and appreciation for something perhaps that you put to one side, or that's come back around, or even that's felt quite challenging of late, but perhaps now you're getting the opportunity to see it a little bit differently through a new lens, if you like. And that may, you know, be because in the past it's caused or been the cause of some disappointment, some setbacks, a feeling of loss. Now, I also sense that through the course of September, you know, we do come up against, as always, experiences that, you know, are going to trigger us in some way. We've got a full moon lunar north node eclipse in Pisces happening, right, on the 17th. And this is a whole new storyline that's set to start playing out over the next couple of years between Pisces and Virgo. We're going to be looking at fact and fantasy, logic, intuition. And, you know, these lunar eclipses are exposing new concealed realities for us. So there's something coming to the surface. You've got the 5 of water, and I sense it's perhaps, you know, what's been suppressed or pushed down, not acknowledged or understood by you, but you weren't ready or prepared to deal with it. I have a sense that it's kind of saying, like, now's the time, Taurus. Like, we're really going to, you know, we're going to take this and we're going to start to address it in a more meaningful way to really help you to evolve and progress, because perhaps this is, you know, a part of the story that's been holding you back. And I think you may have been dealing with lots of other things through your healing journey and just in your personal pathways. And you always knew this was coming. You know, you always thought, right, okay, there's going to be a time where I'm going to have to kind of come around to this. And I think this is the beginning of it. It doesn't all happen at once. It's not all in September. It's just kind of giving you a glimpse. Now, you know, that's not something to shy away from or to feel reluctant or resistant about. Far from it. It's actually testament to the fact that you've got to a place, you're at a stage where you're more than ready and able to cope and to have the type of conversations and do the work and address certain things to make powerful adjustments in your life. And that's a game changer. So incredibly healing in its experience, but I feel what's happening around that time, so pay attention, 17th, in terms of the thoughts you're thinking, conversations that you're having, the nudges that you're receiving. With a high priestess showing up, it's more than likely it's coming through intuitive downloads from your higher self, your spirit guides, your team, you know, that inner voice that's sort of showing you through the signposts that are kind of surfacing in and around that moment. Okay, now we've got equinox, of course, this month. Beautiful celestial experience on the 22nd. Venus also shifts into Scorpio that day. I think there's a certain intensity this year for this particular equinox. It can always disrupt our equilibrium a little bit, as it affords us like a sort of reset, if you like. You've got the 5 of fire there, so I would say there's something perhaps a little bit antagonistic that's going on around that time. Now, don't get me wrong, I think you've perhaps got something that's already pretty complex going on for you, pertaining perhaps to other people, and, you know, maybe affecting you physically as well, or the way that you have to shape your days, or, you know, how you get to show up for the things that are important or you're prioritizing. And so it's not necessarily anything that isn't known to you. But I feel what equinox does around this time is it's giving you permission to say, like, I gotta let go of this. And that's the beginning. It's not necessarily the physical action that's taken, but perhaps it's the story that you've created around it, or the belief that you're holding on to. But there's something that you make an intention towards that actually acts as a catalyst for what I feel is a complex, difficult scenario that, you know, you're having to deal with in your life. And this is the beginning of like a major change that's going to take place pertaining to this. So over the next few weeks and months, I think there's a lot more to come, but the beginning of something, and your choice, your decision, your realization, if you like, of, you know, what needs to happen, or how you really feel, or what you need to do for yourself, the work around this, landing quite powerfully around that equinox. You may, you know, see some drama playing out. I really hope that, you know, you don't feel it necessary to kind of get caught up in it or to be a part of it. It's ongoing. It feels like it's low level noise. It's not anything that can distract or take away from what is really important for you through the course of this month. It just feels like, you know what, turn the volume down on it is what I want to say. It's not going away anytime soon. The more we try and run from it, the more it seems to be there. But it just feels like turn the volume down and really focus on what is important for you. I think, you know, toward the end of September, we have this really interesting astrological conversation where Mercury is conjunct the South Node in Libra, and lessons from the past are really understood in a powerful way, especially regarding communication. And it may be that you just get the realization, you know, if I participate or get involved with this drama, or what's playing out, or, you know, how I'm being antagonized, I'm just going to repeat that same pattern. So there's definitely a learning moment that comes in here. I think you'll be super proud of yourself actually toward the end of September in terms of how you handle something and what you do, because there's also something that's more important, and it just shows me like a little spark, and I feel quite excited for you. I feel like there's a sign of something that it's just, this is possible, this can work. It's almost just like, and maybe you've been waiting for a while, you know, you hadn't really expected to get any movement on it this soon, or, you know, there's just something super inspiring that seems to be showing up around that time as well, that absolutely will make it very easy for you to move away from any potential distractions. Okay, so keep that in mind. I think, you also need to remember that, as you're navigating some of your relationships through the course of September, that even when we have situations where it's like, this is an ongoing relationship, it's not like you can shut it out of your life completely. There are ways to give yourself permission to withdraw or to take some time out, without severing, without ending, without, blocking. But just being really clear on what it is that you need. And I think that agency from you through the course of September is really important, because you know what, you're going to do a lot with that energy is what I see. So you'll be really glad that you did. So any tricky dynamics, it's just like, stop letting it take up so much space in your mind and your head. And your heart through the course of September, because it just feels the progress that you can make when you reclaim that space, that energy, and that time. You'd be amazed if you realize like how much time is spent wasteful, getting involved in sort of playing out scenarios and stories connected to other people. So something important that your guides are trying to direct you towards quite significantly, I think, happening through the month of September. And you feel the confidence rising in terms of taking something on, or knowing that it's time. I think you've been waiting a while to figure out when is the right time. Now is the right time. Okay. Now, if you're new to the channel, my last 3 cards we cover in the extended reading. I'm going to talk for another 30 minutes or so. You're also going to get a personal question answered and a relationship card. And it's a way to support the channel, and the investment really means the world. It helps me to keep showing up to do the free readings, so I hope you'll join me. Taurus, I'm going to go ahead and clarify these cards and see where we are going to take that reading. We've got the Page of Swords, we've got the Four of Swords. What about this High Priestess? We've got the Lovers and the Eight of Pentacles. Lovely. Okay, what about the King of Water? Oh, interesting. Another High Priestess. King of Wands. Okay, now over on my website, romywiser.com, another King of Cups. There we go. romywiser.com, you're going to find my deck, Life Soul Vision Oracle. You're going to find my book. You're going to find ways to sign up to hear more about my new journal that's coming out in the next few weeks, and ways to work with me, as well as all of the sacred soul support that I offer. So this month we've got an equinox soul journey for you, and also a lunar eclipse, so please check that out. Okay, we've got strength, some really strong majors coming through for you. 3 swords there. Okay, all the decks that I use are always listed in the comment section below, Taurus. Right, let's have a look at Life Soul Vision here, see what we have for you. Okay, we've got Third Eye energy along with those High Priestess. My goodness, like your powers of psychic intuition are absolutely on fire in September. Nobody's really getting anything past you, I don't feel, this month. Cosmic Rebellion, we've got Alchemize the Ache. We've got Karmic Cause and Effect, the Wishing Tree, that's lovely. Encoded Footprints, interesting. Right, okay, we're going to pull one more oracle for Taurus for September. What do we have? The Volcano, relationships, express, don't stagnate. Okay. Leave it there. Thanks for being here, Taurus. I hope you'll join me on the extended. Take care. Have a beautiful month. I'll see you again.